When you're PVMing in RuneScape, there's only one thing that's worse than dying and having to go and pay your death costs. And that's dying right before the end of your kill. It's a pain in the ass and you have to reset the whole thing. Now, especially if this is a boss that you just don't really like that much, a good example would be if you're trying to run an elite dungeon and there's one boss in that dungeon that you absolutely hate, Masuta for example, because it's time gated, frick that boss, and you get right to the end. Then you make one little mistake and get totally wiped out by the water hit. Not ideal, is it? It's definitely not. And now you have to redo that whole fight again and be time gated out one more time, and you just hate it so much. But there's actually a solution, and that is why in this video I wanted to talk about the Ring of Death and why it's actually become probably my favorite ring to use, even though it is not technically best in slot for pretty much any combat style in most situations. Sometimes it is the best in slot option, but I actually kind of just use this everywhere now because the amount of value that it gives you, the amount of time that it saves you is just too good. So let's talk about it. The Ring of Death used to be something that would be used by pretty much anybody learning to PVM. If you were learning to PVM, you would go to the Ring of Death because it would reduce your death costs from something silly like 5 to 10 million GP down to what, like a few hundred K each time you died. It wasn't a big deal at that point, and it made playing the game feel a lot less bad. But then they reworked death costs, and then because of this, the Ring of Death effect at the current time kind of became a little bit redundant. So Jagex reworked it and made it incredibly OP. Holy crap. And then it got nerfed again and they changed it to the current state that it is right now. Now, what happens when you die with the Ring of Death today? Well, the Ring of Death will save you from death and revive you, and you'll have a debuff placed on your character that will make you take damage over time. This is typeless damage, so you're not going to be able to use like protect from magic or anything to reduce it, and you are just going to continuously take this damage over time until you either go towards retreat or until you die. However, this doesn't actually ruin your kill completely. If you are right at the end of a kill, if you're about to kill a boss and you want to take advantage of this, you can. If you die in the last phase, in the last 20 seconds, whatever it may be, you can use this to your advantage to not have to repeat that entire thing. If you are doing a 5-6 minute kill and you die in the last 10 seconds, that feels insanely bad. Holy crap, you've just wasted that time and now you got to redo the whole thing. You didn't get your reward, or it could even be, what if you died when you killed the boss? And as you're being teleported to Death's office, you see that you got a rare drop. Now I'm going to include a clip for you guys to see for this. Now I didn't get a rare drop, but if I had and I couldn't have picked it up, can you imagine how crap that would have felt? Yeah, it wouldn't have been very good. Well, the Ring of Death, if you do die, will give you that chance to either just decide, hey, I'm going to teleport out and not pay any death costs, or I'm going to continue the kill because I know that I'm very close and I can not waste my time and get my rewards. Now in a little bit, I'm going to show you a way that you can also make it so that tanking the Ring of Death's effect is kind of really easy, and we'll talk about that soon. But first of all, the Ring of Death costs right now around about 60 million GP. It's probably about just a little bit over, it could be a little bit under when you buy it, but as of this video right now, 62 million GP is what Ellie is saying. Now, as you can see in the past, the price of this has fluctuated up and down all over the place. In August alone, it was 90 million GP, then it went down, and it slowly seems to be going up again at the moment. So if you are going to be getting one of these, maybe just consider the price of it. But personally, if I was going to buy a best in slot ring, not necessarily just for the stats, I would probably get one of these instead of like a Reaver's ring if you were picking between the few. If you were going to get just all of them anyway, then just get all of them and switch them out for however you want to use them. But if you are looking for just one ring, the one ring, I would probably go for the Ring of Death personally because of what it adds to me. It's worth keeping in mind that you are probably going to lose some DPS from this in situations where it's not best in slot, of course, but then it comes down to common sense for yourself whether you prefer that extra little bit of DPS or whether the value of, hey, if I died at this boss and I don't want to waste the time, is this better for me? So you'll have to weigh that up yourself and make a personal decision. Now, this ring doesn't only protect you from death, it actually has some other effects as well, which are insanely useful. I use this in elite dungeons all the time, specifically, like I definitely, because of the extra effect that it does have. if you are killing some units, every time you kill a unit, there's a 50% chance that you will get some adrenaline, 1% for every 1500 of the target's max life points, up to 5% adrenaline. So basically, if you are flying through a dungeon, killing off big groups of trash mobs over and over again, like nuking them down in AoE, your adrenaline is going to get restored by quite a bit through that full run, and you will definitely notice it. It makes it so that you don't have to be downing adrenaline potions to keep up with adrenaline and whatnot, and it is definitely convenient to have. Now, you won't notice this as much if you're going one-on-one against like Zamorak on his own. You're not going to kill him until the end of the fight, right? So you're not going to get that effect. But for elite dungeons, for Slayer as well, you are going to notice that adrenaline gain, and it is definitely something to keep in mind. It's also worth mentioning that if you do die and proc the Ring of Death, your adrenaline that you have will actually be kept. If you die with, for example, a Sign of Life, any buffs that you currently had active, for example, if you were using Tsunami on magic, the Tsunami buff will be removed. The crit that you will get from it, the adrenaline from the crits, will be completely removed, and like Living Death on Necromancy will be removed as well. But with Ring of Death, all of this stuff is kept, including your adrenaline and everything like that. So overall, the ring is going to give you extra adrenaline when clearing out lots of sort of trash mobs and stuff. And of course, it's going to keep you alive if you die in probably some of the worst situations. Man, it saves so much frustration, let me tell you. Okay, so now you know why I like the ring so much. How can you actually use this to your advantage in some other ways than just staying alive? Because it has some pretty high value uses. For example, let's start with Zamorak. The final phase of Zamorak. At 100% enrage, Zamorak will have a new phase, and you will have to go through and deal a massive amount of damage to him while tanking a big nuclear bomb, let's just call it that will murder you. It will murder you if you are trying to kill him and you have no practice here. Pretty much, it's going to take some practice. But the Ring of Death makes it so you can just tank it. It doesn't matter if you die. It doesn't matter. You can take your time on this last phase. You can completely just go through the runes as whenever you want. Like set yourself up as much as you want to deal as much damage as possible, and just let the bomb hit you in the face. Then when the bomb hits you in the face, you will be revived instantly. You've dealt with the big damage, and you just have to continue dealing your damage to Zamorak to have him killed, which with Necromancy, you're going to be very close anyway, probably with most combat styles as well at this enrage. So obviously, this is super useful there. Now, the other things you can do to take advantage of the actual effect is you can reduce the damage that it deals to you by using some defensive abilities. For example, using Resonance, using Disruption Shield, this won't do anything, and Reflect and Debilitate obviously won't do anything either, because it's typeless damage that's not reducible. However, if you use Barricade, then it is completely removed as you are taking no damage anyway. So for the duration of Barricade, you will not take any damage from it until it comes back. But if you use Immortality, and then let yourself die and be revived, the amount of damage you take from this is reduced an absolute ton. Now, I don't exactly understand the formula of this and how it works and how much damage it reduces, but if you use Immortality and have yourself die, the amount of damage that you take is just so low that you can kind of continue on with any fight you wanted to. If I proc Ring of Death, the immediate response that I have is to use an Adrenaline Potion and use Immortality, and that way when I do revive after that time, well, I know I'm probably fine. I can use Soul Split to heal back up in places. I can then use like a Barricade and heal up then. Make sure to still use Resonance to be able to heal from the attacks that you're taking and all that sort of stuff. And you can definitely get through the fights while camping on the Ring of Death effect. There's been many times that I've taken advantage of this in like Volcath and hard mode, or even Telos. There's a time that I've procced this in phase 3 of Telos and then completed the kill while under the effect of Ring of Death. You can definitely do it. So personally, I think this ring is absolutely underrated, and I think it is definitely worth bringing to many places if you're not trying to just fully reach the absolute best kill times that you can get in a place, and you just want to have a convenience item that is still good and save you some time. If you want something to value your time, if you value your own time and you don't want to repeat bosses because you messed up on the last phase, then the Ring of Death is definitely something you should try out. I don't know, I just wanted to make a video specifically on this to talk about it because there's many things that you can take advantage of with this. So let me know in the comments if there's anything I've missed. And other than that, I'll catch you on the next one. See you later, guys. Bye.